For the next few sessions, we're going to be talking about backing up your system, basically files and directories on the system. And we're going to talk about a few different utilities and methods you can use to accomplish these backups. The first method we're going to talk about is using tar, or the tape archive command. Now, tar has been around for a long time in the Unix world, and it's also used in the Linux world and Solaris world and so forth. It's probably the most used utility for backing up, restoring, and moving lots of large files and directories. Once you accomplish the tar command, you've got a single file that may be full of other files, multiple files or directories. And this single file, or archive as it's called, is also called a tarball. And this tarball basically contains many different files and directories. Now, you may have also seen tarballs when downloading programs in Linux or Unix, because a tarball can frequently be used to install programs. You download the tarball, you untar it, you run the make, install, and so forth, and you install a program. So you've probably seen tarballs before. Now, tar by itself does not compress files or directories. However, it can use a couple of different utilities such as gzip or bzip2 to do just that. In fact, support for gzip and bzip is built right into tar, as we'll see. Let's go ahead and do a couple of demonstrations on tar, and you can see how it works. We're in our FreeBSD virtual machine. Before we get started, let's do a pwd to see where we're at. And I've created a folder under root's home directory called personal, and that's where we're at. Let's take a look at what's in this folder. And we can see that we've got 4 different files, different sizes. File 1.txt, file 2.txt, and so forth. 4 total files. We may want to tar these up and copy them to a different system, or even save them for later to put on a CD or something. But the first step is to tar the files up. So what we want to do is first let's take a look at the tar command and see what kind of options we get with tar. So we've got several options we can use. Normally the most popular options you'll use are C for create an archive, or X for extract an archive. If you've ever used WinZip before, or PKZip, or some other kind of compression utility in Windows, then you know what create and extract usually means. There are other options you'll normally use. Z gives you the option of using gzip with tar. J gives you the option of using bzip or bzip2 with tar. And there's other options as well. Now, normally tar will try, if you don't specify any options, tar will send it to the default tape backup device. That's actually what tar was originally invented to do, was send files to a tape backup device. And we don't want to do that. Normally these days you'll send it to a file, so you'll just about always use the F option as well. There are some other options too that we may cover as we go through the course. Let's go ahead and look at tar. Let's look inside of our directory again. What we want to do is type in tar, and we're going to create an archive of those 4 files. So let's go tar, C for create, Z for compress it also, and we want to go ahead and let's do the verbose. That'll tell you what's being done as it's being done, and we want to send it to a file, of course. And we want to call that file, let's call it all files, and we want to specify a .tar extension, but we also want to specify a gzip extension since we're using Z telling tar to use gzip, so let's put a gz there. You don't have to do this, but by convention it's probably a good thing to get in the habit of doing, by the way. And we're going to tell it to do everything. So let's go ahead and do that. And it gave us the verbose output. It told us every time it was doing a file. So let's look and see what it did. Notice that now we have those 4 files, but we also have a set of files that's all tarred together and zipped, compressed. That's allfiles.tar.gz. Now we could go ahead and uncompress this if we like, but we don't have to. We can now use this tar file any way we like. We can copy it across the network to another box. We can go ahead and make a burnable CD with it and throw that file on there if we want to back up those files as well. Now what we may want to do is copy this tar file. Let's do a CP all files. We can use our command completion there. And let's copy this to the /root directory, one directory up. And let's CD up to that directory a little bit and see what we get. Now we have the allfiles.tar.gz file, the tarball here in this directory. Let's go ahead and unzip that or untar it. So let's go tar, and we want to use a xzvf, and again I said X was extract, and we want to say all files. And we can go ahead and extract that here. And it says that they were extracted. We put the V in there for verbose, so it told us as it was extracting them. And let's see what we got. See, now we've got those files there. Now notice it did not delete the original tar file. And we actually untarred and unzipped the files at the same time. We didn't necessarily have to do that. As we'll see later when we talk about gzip and bzip2, we can actually use those compression utilities on a single file by itself, and we can also use them to uncompress a tarball without untarring the file. Let's say compression is not an issue. We don't always have to compress if we don't want to. We can simply tar it up and put it in a tarball. So we've got some flexibility there with tar and with gzip and bzip, and as we continue through our discussion on backing up files and directories, we'll talk a little bit more about how gzip and bzip2 work with tar. But take the time to explore tar, to look at the different options and switches, and get familiar with just the basic ones we've discussed here. Now, tar is very flexible. Not only can it do a single group of files, it can also do entire directories, and you can do multiple files at once in different locations. So it's actually got a lot more flexible than just what we've shown here. We can do really good comprehensive backups on an entire system with tar. It's that flexible. So take the time to learn how it works and learn the switches available with it, and you'll be on your way to becoming a very proficient Unix system administrator.